All right, you guys, it's that time for another video. We're hanging out, we're doing stuff. What's going on? And welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on the 05 STi again. We have some more parts in, so of course we're going to install them. As the title says, we're going to be doing the Chase Bays power steering kit for the car. Now, this is going to consist of the reservoir, the high pressure lines, all the good stuff. So all that stock stuff is going to come out. It's not 100% needed, but all of the OE lines at this point, all the rubber ones, should probably be replaced with 132,000 miles on them. I just don't see a lot of life left in them. The power steering rack itself is good, so there's no need to swap that out. Now, I don't advise anyone do this install unless the motor is out of the car or your power steering rack is out of the car, because these fittings are a huge pain to get to. But before we jump into this power steering goodness, let me show you guys this EG33 because it's ready to go back down to out front and it is not going to get damaged this time around. So yesterday I built a small pallet for this thing, so that way it's actually palletized. It is secured with saran wrap. It is secured with ratchet straps. There is an abundance of packing material in here. This thing will not get damaged. I am going to advise that it is going to be sent back the same way it's being sent to them, just to make sure that no damage will occur. Like I said, there is a ton of packing material in here. So this will probably go on an LTL. If you guys don't know what LTL is, it's just freight, so it's gonna go like FedEx freighter. That should be shipping back down to out front today, which means we should get this thing back here in a couple of weeks. They already have the new case halves machined and ready to go, so they just need to swap everything from this block over to the new one, and then we'll be good to go to start assembling that. We'll be good to fit it up into our 2017 STi out there, and then we can start fabricating and doing the 6-cylinder swap in that car. This morning I went down to the machine shop for this engine, and the heads should be done either today or tomorrow. I had to give them the new valves so that way they could cut the valve seats accurately, so that way our heads are going to be sealing properly. So here in the next video, we are going to be assembling that long block, getting the heads put on there, new head gaskets, all that good stuff. But today, like I said, we're doing power steering stuff. So here is the stock power steering system. It's got the, what is it, the IAG high pressure line on there right now. That'll come off and that'll probably go on to a different car for a future project. That'll probably go on the 17 STi when we go to do that one. But we're going to be swapping it with this Chase Bays kit over here. So what this consists of is a new bracket, the new reservoir. This is the line that feeds up to the power steering pump and connects up to right there. This line, my phone's ringing. It was spam, it was junk. So we have the high pressure line. This one goes from the power steering rack up to the reservoir right here. This one's gonna go from the power steering rack up to the actual pump over here, and it'll just connect onto that fitting right back there. So I do like this kit because it does come with brand new fittings that connect up to the rack themselves. So that way we're losing all of the old shmoo and stuff that's on there, so that way we don't have to be reusing old seals or anything like that. It's not going to be a huge fun install. It is going to make quite the mess because power steering fluid is going to go everywhere. So what I'm going to start by doing is cracking off that old just line right there, both of those old lines, so that way those can start coming out and all of the fluid can start draining out. It's not going to be fun. Power steering fluid's going to go everywhere, and I'm going to have to go through here and thoroughly degrease and clean down there again, but it's not the end of the world. So let's get cracking. Let's take those lines off. All right, what size do we got down there? We got a size. It's a size. We know that much. Crack you loose, and then it's going to pee power steering fluid absolutely everywhere. So what is that bottom one? Bottom one's 11/16. Top one is probably 3/4. There it is. Oh, and it's just peeing power steering fluid out. That's lovely. That's beautiful right there. We're gonna let that drain for a couple of minutes and just let it like leak its fluid out because I know it's going to. While that's doing that, let's get the new canister put in here. So I mean, this looks nice. This looks good. I like this. Look how good that looks. Nice AN fittings everywhere. That's what we like. Good AN fittings. So I need to pop these guys out, get this bracket on, and then we can get this in the car. Bam. That looks good. I like that. I'll just mount right up like that. Not bad. Let's go mount it in the car. Actually, before we mount it in the car, let's get this hose on there. So that way I'm not struggling to like try to tighten this later once it's in. Where did I put my adjustable wrench? I just sat it down. I literally, oh, there it is. Where's my AN wrench? What am I doing? I literally have a tool for this. Bam. That's nice. Let's get this boy mounted up in there. Looks good, I like it. So maybe I'm the only one that's ever done this, but have you ever gone and you start an install and then you're like, I don't want to do this anymore? That's how this is going because, well, I mean, the mounting thing was easy. It bolts right up. It looks good. I only went with one screw down there because it just doesn't meet the other one, or it doesn't reach to the other one. And I didn't want to share it off of this ABS pump because it pushes it a little far forward for my liking. So we're going with that. But as for like the high pressure and low pressure lines, those connect directly to the steering rack down here. So this has just became a lot more of a pain to do. So I need to go through, remove those stock lines down there, which I am not looking forward to. And then both of these connect up to the steering rack. So we've got one right there and one right here that connect up to the steering rack. This is just not going to be an enjoyable install to do. Chase Base has no install instructions, but I mean, it's a pretty straightforward install. This just became something that I don't really want to do anymore, but we're going to do it anyways because I already have the kit here. I already paid for it and those lines are already off. So I kind of committed at this point, and this looks a lot better. So the lengths that we go through for car stuff. So let me pull out all that stuff down there. Let me get the ground cleaned off down there because I'm gonna have to be crawling around on my back to be able to access that power steering rack to get the stock hard lines off and feed on the new soft lines. Well, this just got a whole lot worse. So I was trying my damnedest to be able to get that power steering line bolt out of the rack, and it is just rounded, stripped, and totally destroyed at this point. So I don't think I have much of an option but to drop the power steering rack, which I was really trying to avoid because that's totally going to screw our alignment on the front. Whatever, I can realign the front end. This sucks though. I think I'm going to try to mark on the tow rods where everything is lined up wise, so that way I can get the alignment somewhat close to what it was before. But I hate you. I hate you so much. So I guess let's pull out the power steering rack. Yay, I guess it's a good time to clean it. Oh my God. First off, let me start by saying this absolutely sucks to install. Like, absolutely stuck. Like, sucks. So, in taking off the power steering rack, or attempting to, it's just unbolted hanging down there because I couldn't actually get it out of the car. We're gonna have to get new tie rods because I kind of beat the hell out of those ones right there. So good time to upgrade to the roll center adjustment kit. Secondly, the sway bar is a huge pain to get out, and I couldn't get it out, so it's staying in there, which is the main reason why I can't get the power steering rack out. There's one bolt that's like right on that H-frame, and I just don't want to take the H-frame out. I just don't see a need to. So the sway bar is just kind of hanging out in there with the power steering rack hanging out over there. Now for that one stripped bolt that I had, what I ended up doing is, I need to clean that up. Don't look at that. I'll clean that up, I promise. I ended up just breaking the line off right there. And then where's the other end of it? And then for the broken end, the part that was rounded off and stripped, I just like slammed an impact on this and kind of sent her home and just pulled it right off. So now I'm getting the new fittings on there. One thing I did notice about these new fittings compared to the old OEM stock ones is that they are much longer. They do have an O-ring on them, so they will still seal, but you will still have some threads exposed on there. So don't stress too much if you are installing this kit and you see some like exposed threads. Just get them nice and snug on the power steering rack. So let me get this other one or this other fitting. I already have it like hand threaded in there. Let me get it like nice and tight. Let me get that one on there nice and tight, and let me bolt up the power steering rack again, just so it's not flopping around and hanging around down there, just because I don't want any stress on those boots if I can avoid it. So let me get that guy bolted back up on there, and then I'll give you guys a rundown and show you like where the lines route and everything like that. But this thing, huge pain, but I keep telling myself it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it, Tanner. It'll be worth it in the end. It'll be worth it. Let me start off by saying absolutely nothing about this install has been fun, enjoyable, anything of that nature. I have been pissed half the time. I have smashed my finger. I have oh, this is not, it's just not enjoyable. Let me show you guys kind of what it is. Let me show you. So, I'd bring the camera under there, but there's power steering fluid absolutely everywhere, and I don't want to crawl around on my back with this massive camera and potentially ruin it with power steering fluid, so we're going to do everything from up here. Right here is one of the lines. This is the high pressure line on the rack, which is this more like coated line rather than just the PTFE line. So that one, huge pain. You do have to drop the rack to be even be able to get to it. It's just not possible to get to that without dropping the rack. Secondly, I went to reinstall everything. When I reinstalled the rack, I forgot to put in the steering shaft piece, so I had to take it back out and do it again. The other fitting's not bad. It's right on the bottom side. You cannot miss it. That one you can do without pulling the rack or anything like that. That's just gonna be your low pressure line, which is this guy right here. So now that situation, then just to give you guys like a time frame, that was probably a long time lapse. Just doing that part probably took me a solid 2.5 hours. Not enjoyable at all. Trying to get this line right here, the high pressure line, to not rub on the steering or the sway bar, huge pain. No matter what you do, it's going to touch the sway bar a little bit. It doesn't matter how you like orientate that hose or how you orientate that sway bar, it is going to touch it just a hair. I looked on their website. They said that that line is coded to have just in case it does rub on anything or like that, it shouldn't puncture or wear through the line. So I will continue to monitor that as we drive the car, but that's just a little bit stressful. So next up is these lines up here. So this one's going to go to the power steering pump. This one right here is going to go to this reservoir. Now with the low pressure line right here, the side with the like 30-degree angle goes to the reservoir. The side with the 90-degree angle goes to the rack. So what I'm going to do is actually disassemble that line right there. So that way I can get rid of like all the slack right there and just have it go right up there. We'll run it like right on the frame rail with our brake lines right there, get it zip tied down, get it nicely assembled here. So let's do that. After that, I have the shipping labels for this engine, so we can go ship that out at FedEx, and our heads are done for that 257 back there, so we can go pick up our heads. I think total cost on those heads for valve guide replacement, decking, cleaning the cam journals, and a couple other smaller things came out to about $450, which isn't terrible, but let's finish this, and then we have some more errands we gotta go run. So this is fully installed at this point. Huge pain to do. If any of you guys are considering installing this Chase-based power steering kit for the 02 to 07 WRX or STi, just know it is a good kit, but installing it sucks. Like, it straight up sucks. So the lines come out of the subframe where the stock lines came out of. I have it wrapping up, zip tied to the brake lines right now, just so it has a place to hang out. And then I've got it going up to the reservoir up here. I did cut that line by maybe about 6 inches down there, just so we didn't have a ton of slack hanging out down there. But pretty happy with the outcome with it. I need to go and drop that engine off at FedEx right now and go pick up the heads for that. So I'll show you guys the heads for that engine after we pick them up. We'll just get them like thrown up on the bench over there and take a peek at what they did. So I'll be right back. So we have made it a couple hours into the future, and we now have our heads back for the EJ257. I will go over here in a second with you guys what all we got done and a rough cost on how much it costs to do it all. The EG33 has been shipped back down to out front. I talked to the builder down there on the phone today. He said that we don't want to sit around and wait for FedEx to do all their claim stuff, so they're just jumping on it. So the motor's already been shipped back. They've already started machining the new case halves. All he has to do at this point is disassemble that block, put everything into the new case halves, send it back up here, then we can start assembling the EG33 long block and start fitting it up in the STi. Now, let me show you these heads. So pretty happy with these. It only cost about, well, it was about $450 for all the work. So here's all of the old valve guides that were in here. These are just OEM stock valve guides. I'm guessing they've been in there for 132,000 miles, the entire lifespan of the car. So we now have the new GSC valve guides in there. They look incredibly good. The new valve, so this is the bigger valve, so let's just kind of ploop that guy. So all of the valve seats have been recut at this point, just to accommodate a good seal with our new valve, so that way we're not going to have any compression or leaking issues with any of the cylinders. They also went through and cleaned up all of the cam journals for us as well and resurfaced the heads. So for all that work for both heads, it was about $425. They also hot tanked them and cleaned all of the carbon buildup off of the inside, so huge shout out to them. If you guys are looking for anywhere local to me that does heads, the Napa off of 96 and Pacific Pacific did these. They did an incredible job. Only took them about 5 days or so to get them back, and that was with them being extremely busy. So tomorrow we can go through and start assembling our EJ25 long block, so that way we don't have these heads sitting around. I did get the new test bucket in, so that way we can go through, check all of our valve lash. This is the smallest bucket that Subaru offers. Essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the smallest bucket size, go through, measure lash on every single valve, and take our measurements that way. Then we're gonna write down all of our measurements, and then we're gonna order those bucket sizes, so that way we're not spending an excessive amount of money on buckets. Like I said, we are replacing all the buckets. We are changing all of the valve lash, so they're not gonna be extremely tight like they were before. They're gonna have a little bit more room and a little bit more play. So like I said, that is all I have for you guys on this one. We got all of our power steering stuff taken care of, which was a huge nightmare. I don't suggest anyone do that unless they really wanna torment themselves, or they really wanna clean up the engine bay, or maybe their power steering system is leaking somewhere and you need to replace stuff anyways. It's a good looking kit. It just sucks to install. I completely smashed one of my fingers. If you guys like the video, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like button, turn it whatever color it turns for you. Green, black, blue, purple, yellow, cyan, aqua, tangerine, mango, I don't know. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit your boy up, because this car is going, well, that car behind me is going to the dyno here in a couple weeks. Once we get this long block reassembled, thrown back in the car. So with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, homies.